Hello, everybody, and welcome to your deadline stream. We've got a few questions already, Ben, or some interactions. But yeah, I guess, how are you doing today, big man?
I'm good, mate. I'm coming off the back of, back-to-back birthdays, as it were, myself and the little one. So it's been a manic few days, which meant that did impact on my viewing of the FA Cup final on Saturday. I was taking part in a under sevens, five-a-side, parents versus kids game at the time of the match. So managed to come through that unscathed, but obviously missed a whole load of major talking points from the final, whether it was the pre-match ones or the ones that indeed occurred during the game. So looks like I missed a bit of a snorter in terms of injuries, mate. And of course, we've got Sunday. We've got almost a full slate. So it's good to be working on a Sunday and having that Saturday off. And it's game week 37. It's a double game week. Look, it's a penultimate one of the season. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to the end of the season. I hasten to add, it's been a long one. It's been a long few years. So I'm looking forward to some rest. But look, absolutely looking forward to smashing this one out today.
Jack and Coke has said that my mic was a little bit lower there, so hopefully that is a bit better for everybody. And I was just going to say quickly, Ben, you said you're at an under sevens tournament there. Was this in preparation for the Game Week 39 event that you're going to be involved in? I mean, were you giving the kids a good schooling?
To be fair, I didn't hold back in one or two challenges. You've got to assert your authority in these games. You get absolutely nothing in life is handed to you on a plate. I did score a hat-trick. I'm not one to blow my own trumpet. I'm not really sure where the goalkeeper was on all three goals, because he seemed to have, I don't know if he was getting his mum to tie his shoelaces or something like that, but he certainly wasn't in and around that goal area, which made it a lot easier, of course. But look, I'm all about, punishing those little mistakes, and any bit of game time ball work ahead of game week 39, of course, it's going to help. That follows on the back of a great training session we had with the lads down at St George's Park. And you know what? I think I was pleasantly surprised and pleased with the standard of, the lads within the team. They're a lot younger than me. They're a lot fitter than me. Some of them are still playing regularly, both Saturdays and Sundays. So they still know what they're doing. They've still got the engines. And if they can carry like fat old blokes like me for the full 90 minutes, then look, I'm all for that, mate.
Let's get into the injury news then. So people have got their questions, but first and foremost, we have to start with the biggest news possibly of the game week, possibly of the rest of the season, because Mo Salah went down in that FA Cup final injured. We're going to put the footage up whenever you're ready, Ben. You tell me when you want to start analysing, and everybody on the screen will be able to see it as well, because we like to do this. We like to explain, obviously you've got an incredible amount of knowledge, and just so that you can kind of explain why it's not easy to tell what is happening going on until we know a little bit better from the club. So yeah, what is quickly the update from Liverpool on this situation, then we'll get to the analysis.
Yeah, look, I mean, typical Jurgen Klopp and typical of most managers, really, what they don't want to commit to a lot, in the aftermath of a game, highly charged, highly fueled, high energy environment. And we know that, what maybe on the surface could look like a minor or a small setback may not be the case. Case in point, Matai Vidra ruptured his ACL, his anterior cruciate ligament, and plays 60 plus minutes through that game. And it wasn't until he went for imaging after that they realized the severity of that problem that could keep him out for the remainder of the calendar year. So, I would always take those post-match comments with a pinch of salt. First and foremost, players will be sent for imaging, typically over the next 24 to 48 hours. With it being a Sunday, would maybe expect that to be on Monday. And that's often considered the gold standard, of diagnostics to sort of determine the severity of that problem. Now, from looking at the incident or the mechanism, as it were, we can ascertain that obviously it was a non-contact injury. Now, those are the ones that we tend to worry about, because we know inherently we're looking at maybe some kind of soft tissue or a muscle pull or a strain. Secondly, we look at the gravity of the game. It's an FA Cup final. It's a big one. Players want to be a part of that. They want to play at Wembley, especially when the game is finely balanced as it was at nils each. And also, don't forget, it was Mo Salah's former club, Chelsea, so he may feel that he had a point to prove. So, you take that into consideration. Thirdly, we're talking about a player who has high tolerances for playing a high number of rolling minutes. He's a player that does play on some of his best football when he's at the peak, of those rolling minutes, high minutes. He's robust. So he's not a player that likes to miss a lot of games. We often see, I know Jurgen Klopp out 2 out of the last 3 Premier League games. We've seen him on the bench. That's probably more just a little bit of management. And also, you consider the likes of Sadio Mane, Diogo Jota and Luis Diaz as well. You're juggling 3 places with 4 players there. So, there's things to consider there. So when Mo Salah goes down and there's an indication that there's a slight issue, I think it was with the right groin area region, the adductor, as it were, then you are worried. You're concerned at that point.
Let's have a look at the footage then, Ben, because I think people will be interested, kind of almost your blow-by-blow analysis, because this is the kind of thing that we do day to day, just for people to understand. So we'll bring it up on screen now, and I think you can see as well, Ben. So, like you said, it was non-contact. He's sitting on the turf, and then, what is the analysis going on here?
Yeah, so you have Chris Morgan, who's coming on the pitch. They will be watching that game in real time, and then they may also revert to some video footage, which has been recorded. So they will be analysing that, and they will be looking for a mechanism. And of course, as he's approaching Mo Salah on the pitch, he will have a fairly good understanding or idea of what's going on. And you see sort of more point to the right-hand side of his inner thigh there as Chris was coming out to talking to him. And he's obviously indicating that we've had a little bit of some discomfort, of some pain on that right-hand side. Now, Chris is doing some passive testing here. So he's checking out, what the issue is, what the pain sort of level is, the threshold, doing some tests. And from that, he's helping determine whether, Mo is able to continue or not. Now, because we have such a short time frame to be able to do all of this, and because it's a high pressure environment, it's an FA Cup final, the eyes of the world. And then also, you're also thinking of the bigger picture. You're maybe thinking of the Premier League with Southampton coming up next, and a Champions League final where Mo Salah will feel he's got some unfinished business with Real Madrid. Those discussions there will be player-led. So, while Chris is doing his tests, he's saying to Mo, are you fit? Can you continue? How do you feel? Do you want to give it a try? Should we go on? Or, should we take you out as a precaution? Now, Jurgen Klopp's looking, he'll be in discussions with Chris through the headsets. They will be looking at the bench. He's probably at that point saying, Diogo Jota, get yourself stripped, get yourself warmed up. We're going to put you out and we'll take Mo Salah off. Like I say, hopefully at this stage, it's more of a precautionary measure, but it's not maybe until the cool light of day where you can really sort of ascertain the severity and the extent of that problem. And like I say, once imaging as well will help to confirm that.
And just a final question then, Ben, on the Mo Salah one. Obviously, we're dedicating a lot of time to it because it is, the most owned player, the biggest player in the Premier League this season for points. The fact that he's walked off unaided, he's not been taken off on a stretcher or anything, they're not even carrying him off, arm in arm or something like that. Does that mean that maybe it's not as bad? Is it more precautionary, or does that is that not an indicator at all? Do not read into that too much.
Yeah, I wouldn't read too much into that. To be honest, the fact that he's went off under his own steam, like I say, you're in a highly charged, highly pressed environment. The testosterone's flowing, so there's a lot of adrenaline pumping through those veins there, and that will help ease the pain. What I would say is, and I can't go too much into this, but there may be questions about why Jurgen Klopp may be risking or putting players out in games, maybe at the risk of, potentially suffering setbacks because of fatigue and because of being overloaded. Expect some news out maybe over the next week that Liverpool have been doing some great work behind the scenes and working with the players now for well over the last season and trying out some new techniques and some new technologies with regards to maintaining and trying to ensure that the players are fit and healthy and not risked unnecessarily. I can't say any more than that. It's something I have been involved in, but there will be a big announcement from the club and some of the big major media outlets, like I say, possibly over the next week or so, just to give some kind of sort of insight into how Liverpool have been working and managing those players over the last season.
Goodness me. I mean, Ben, you are teasing the community there. Very cheeky indeed with that one. But let's get on to the other issues of this game week. We've got a lot of people with a lot of questions here, and thanks for the feedback, people. Apparently my mic was a little bit low, so hopefully it is much better now. Paul Ryan has started off the questions with, do you think Gaeta plays one of the games, or is Butland a good pick, Ben?
So what we do know is Vicente Guaita missed out last weekend with a calf problem. First and foremost, that was more of a precautionary measure. Now he has been taking part in open training, so it looks as if inherently he's over that minor issue. Now, what I would say at this time of year, and I have to choose my words very carefully, expect the unexpected in terms of managers' selection decisions, and this is not just. This is every team and this is every player, because there are issues away from football that will impact on those selection decisions. Maybe it's teams with one eye already planning for next season. Maybe it's players who are coming at the end of the contract. So with Guaita, is he seen as a future for Crystal Palace? Probably not. Does Patrick Vieira maybe want to have a proper look at Jack Butland in that first team setting and playing? Maybe, I don't know. We're just trying to second guess and fill in the spaces, but I know he's a fan's favourite, Guaita. Look, if I was an owner of Guaita, I would be concerned. I certainly wouldn't look to be taking any chances or risks necessarily with that Palace goal, because I can see them flip-flopping between those two. I don't think there's any guarantees with either. If you know what, yes, we always talk about players. Teams are playing on the beach when they haven't really got anything to play for. I do think there are exceptions to the rule with that. I think almost, like I say, you have players who are coming to the end of the contract, and managers such as Patrick Vieira who will be saying, well, actually, you need to go out and prove to me that you're able to be a part of this future. We want to take this to the next level. I think they can still go for their highest Premier League finish, if I've got that right. And, with the money involved with these smaller clubs, the Palaces don't have huge budgets. Every point, every position does count. So, maybe there's still that need and that motivation intrinsically to keep on playing until the end of the campaign. So I don't think I really answered that question massively, other than to say, if he's in your team, I think it's a risk. And, he could start both or he could be benched for both. I really, like I say, it's a difficult call, that one.
A good idea maybe, Ben, is for people, I know people don't often like to do a goalkeeper transfer. Maybe the big brain idea is to buy in Butland if you've got Gaeta, and then you've got both covered, because it'll be one goalkeeper starting or the other. Now, Ben, I've got to say to you, we've only got about 10 minutes left, so we'll try and
right.
go
I'll
through
try.
this.
Yeah, right.
Let's try and get through these questions as quickly as possible. We love the deep analysis. We went deep on Salah, but we're going to go through these
Right.
very, very quickly. So
10-second response.
maybe more than 10 second. Ben in 10 as much as
Right.
possible. Okay, so Mohammed has asked Milenko or Gordon, which do you prefer?
Gordon he's got a higher ceiling just in terms of those potential attacking returns.
Yeah. Nuclear Atoms says, do you see Ings starting both games? I have captain as Ings at the moment.
I hope so. I've captained him myself. There's question marks over Watkins. We all know that Ings has ongoing injury concerns. That would be my only worry. But given his form, given his performances, and given where we are at the end of the season, Steven Gerrard may be inclined to risk him more. So I'm saying yes to 2 starts for Ings.
Sam Whitehead has asked, do you captain Son or Richarlison?
Single fixture for Tottenham is great, looks appealing, got the form, got the momentum, and got that Champions League qualification spot in sight. Double fixture just swings it for me with Richarlison. He's my vice captain. 2 fixtures, Everton need to go out as well. So the emphasis is you need to go out and score goals.
Okay, so let's move it. I think we've answered this one. Is Salah playing against Southampton? It's question mark.
What I would say quickly is the City result will have a massive bearing on team selection on week 37 and week 38 for Liverpool. If City win by 3+ goals, effectively it's title over, and whether they admit it or not, Liverpool's focus will shift towards that Champions League final.
Interesting insight there. Okay, is Watkins going to play, Ben?
Impact injury, which is always good. So it's a case of pain management. It could be that he wears some kind of protection, maybe some padding in and around that area, providing he comes through yesterday's session. Then I don't see any issues with that. It'll be a case of, can he avoid those knocks, once he's involved in the game.
Latest Vardy news, Ben?
Fit and available, and ready to go, given you would hope, his impact and his worth to that Leicester team is huge. Brendan Rodgers will be wanting to be a part of that. So as far as I'm aware, no issues, and I expect to start.
Okay, Philly has asked Zaha or Maddison.
I like Zaha, and I'm hoping that Patrick Vieira makes good on his promise of playing Zaha as a centrally as that striker. He has spot kick duties as well. Palace with a couple of nice fixtures, so I'm definitely in camp Zaha.
Okay, somebody has asked Castagne or Myolenko.
I'm not a big fan of Leicester City, if I'm at all honest. Defensively, the biggest consideration is who plays at centre-back. If we're looking at Wesley Fofana and Johnny Evans, then they look a lot more of a solid unit. If you're considering the likes of Soyuncu, maybe dropping a Marty in there, then I'm worried. So that is a slight concern. Milenko.
Oh, that is a brave one there. And Anani has asked bench 1 of Cancelo, James, or Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Like I mentioned, you wouldn't be surprised if City won 3+ goals, like that Jurgen Klopp maybe rotated his team on Tuesday, which could see Trent possibly drop out, as we have seen for Joe Gomez. Jurgen Klopp's happy with his squad. He's comfortable with rotating. Chelsea, Reece James, I think there's enough of recovery to Thursday for him to be absolutely fine. And Cancelo, he's got to be in, even if he plays in a back 3, which he could, given, depending on availability. So it's a hard one. It's a tough call. I would say of those 3, I'm saying Trent. Sorry. Ooh, if that backfires, apologies.
No, but the thing is you're doing it logically, Ben. Like, obviously, the kind of situation that people need to understand is you're playing from a data-based injury kind of situation. We've got another question: Sterling or Diaz, which is better to replace Salah? I would always, just for my input, if people are interested, I would say, do you have Kevin De Bruyne? If not, he is my favourite out of any kind of Manchester City option. He's probably the most nailed option in the team. But Sterling is fantastic as well. But I guess out of those two, which one do you prefer, Ben? And do you throw in the KDB as well?
Absolutely love KDB, and I know you've been bigging him up long before that 4-goal haul last week. So, and I'm not a big fan of Sterling. The bearing is that City game, which doesn't really help in terms of a team selection decision pre-deadline. I'm not saying Liverpool aren't going to go out and win the game at Southampton, but there may be changes and it may be a little bit tighter. It may be a 1 or a 2 goal, whereas if they were going full throttle, it might be a 4 or 5 easily. I'll go Diaz.
Let's turn the attention. Okay, so we've got Watkins or Ings on a free hit. I guess a straight up shoot between the two of them.
I would have to say Ings, just given the concerns over Watkins. Just to emphasize, I do expect Watkins to be available. However, that area, even though it's protected and padded, 1, he could take a knock, and 2, he may look to be protected by Steven Gerrard at certain points during the game. And also, look, we don't know that he come through the full session on Saturday either. So Danny Ings would be the sensible or the safer pick, in my opinion.
Do we have any news on Bukayo Saka, Ben?
It's just fatigue related. There's we've had this ongoing rolling sort of minutes issue. The additional recovery time will certainly help. So he's a player that I would be very, very surprised if he wasn't involved at St James's Park on Monday night.
Paul Mack wants to know, who is your captain?
I did say, was it Danny Ings? I think it's. I've literally, honestly, just had like a couple of minutes. So I think I went for Danny Ings with Richarlison as my vice.
This is why we're not going up to the deadline, by the way, because we both haven't done our stream. We do follow our own advice. We're not hypocrites here. We literally wait till the deadline to do our teams. We've got another question of, is Kulu ill, from Tottenham?
I've seen the rumours, and I've heard those myself, but that's nothing I've been able to substantiate. There's talk that he's out with Lucas Moura coming in. What I would say was these emerged on Friday evening, and even over the course of a 24 to 36 hour period, a lot can happen.
And I think the final question, by the way, people, I've got a bit of a gruff voice because I was enjoying Eurovision last night, singing along to some of the songs. So we're going to go with David's question as the finishing one: Coutinho or Richarlison?
Coutinho has been, he's dipped, hasn't he, since the form when he first arrived. Look, I'm going with Richarlison. Gameweek 36 wasn't, he didn't cover himself in a lot of glory. Prior to that, Jason, you looked at the data, in and around, I think was he second in terms of the attacking output? Was he rated second overall the previous 6 games? That 4 goals, 6 games, XGI, most shots in the box. So we're hoping, and Frank Lampard needs Richarlison to replicate some of that form over the next couple of games to hopefully, for the Toffee supporters, fire them out of that relegation dogfight.
Right, we're going to have to end it there, everybody. Hope that was useful. Hope you enjoyed that kind of deep insight into Salah as well. That we do that quite often on the channel, so make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you stay up to date with the latest news and with the latest analysis as well. But we have to go do our teams. We don't want to get cut off by this deadline. We're going to wish you the best of health and the best of luck during Game Week 37.